Occur August 20th, I believe, up and back. Oh, good point. And also, well, I mentioned Smith Industries. I know David Smith is going to be here tomorrow, but I heard he may be here today. David, are you here somewhere in the audience? David? Maybe not. But he and his dad have been a sponsor for many years, and we want to thank them. On another note, how do you like our new T-shirts? What do you think? Well, we want to thank Wes Hansen, who was responsible for getting that artwork to us. We really appreciate that. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for coming.
I also want to give a big shout out to Miranda here and the Meadows Center for allowing us to hold this event here every year. Let's keep the tradition alive. Really appreciate that. This race would not be responsible or possible really without a lot of our race officials and volunteers. Robin Reeves isn't here right now. He's working on some stuff back in the hotel room. He's our race chairman. He's done it every year. If you got any issues during the race, you're a team captain or somebody following the race, go ahead and track down Robin and he can put you in touch with the right person. The board members are myself, Bob Spain, Jerry Cochran, Jane Daniel, and Harvey Badd. The head race judge this year is a newbie, but not to racing, Ed Jones. He's going to be handling all rules infractions. And we've got coming back this year to help with the searches. We decided to divide up searches into two code directors this year. We've got a search director that just oversees the river, then a search director that's going to oversee the bay. And so the search director for the river is back as Daryl Giral. Daryl, are you around? He's right there. And then Chris Paddock in the back with his hat on. So they'll be overseeing all the searches. And I do just want to make a quick mention on searches. We rescue people, not boats. Okay, so a lot of times when we get out there on the river, we get asked if we're helping them. They ask us to help get their boats, but we're stretched pretty thin, so we don't have time to spend a lot of time pulling out boats off of jam or that's unwrapped. So I just want to mention that again. Race officials, I want to thank Kevin Bradley and Sammy Prohaska. They'll be helping out. Sweeps judge, y'all don't want to see her. She closes out all the checkpoints. That's Mary. She's been doing it for umpteen years and wears a fox on her head. So what's really helped us out a lot is taking this race to a new level from a safety standpoint and just a communication standpoint is our director of spot tracking, Jeff Snyder. He's been indispensable to us. Sets up the app that allows us to do everything. And he's got two great guys helping him out this year, Henry McCready and Joe Sterling. So Henry and Joe, their responsibility is going to be during the race. If your spot doesn't reset, he's going to track, one of those two will track you down and ask you to pull over and reset your spot. We may ask the team captain, because we know you're in a rush, to tell you to reset the spot. If that works, that happens. But if you don't, we're actually going to have to physically pull you over and reset it for you or give you a new one, because you have to have a spot to continue on in the race, a functioning spot. Social media, really, it's like Jeff. I think this is the reason the race is growing. We can thank Patty Geisinger for that. And Patty has a great group working with her again. I mean, it's a Sandy again. I think it's Kate Tart and Jill Mulder helping out as well. Okay, awesome. And Ashley Landis is back. She's flew in from California. Gave up the surf to spend some time with some heat and humidity. Ashley, you wanted to mention something briefly about the...
Hi, everybody. We've been working on a couple of things, Patty and I, and Patty has set up a YouTube page. So all of our previous videos that have been on social media and everything else, we've kind of compiled them into one spot that's on our own YouTube page, so you can go out and watch those. And the other thing is that we've put together a Flickr page, so instead of going to all different places to download large files of photos during the race, we're going to compile them in one spot. And the good news about that is that our website, our Texas Water Safari website, at the very top, there will be logos for the Flickr page and the YouTube page and Instagram and Facebook. So you can just go click that and it'll take you directly there, and you can download to your heart's content. Also, Patty wanted me to mention that if she friends you on Facebook, she runs our social media page, and so she likes to tag people in photos so that you can see them better. So she's not stalking you, she's just trying to reach out to get photos to you.
Bob's going to come up and talk about the Brad Ellis Award and our Hall of Fame plaque and any special awards he has.
One thing I meant to mention a while ago, and I don't want to forget anybody, we do have copies up here from GBRA. I mentioned the driving guide, and I didn't know it till recently, but I understand that Kate Tart had a big part in putting that together originally, so we want to give her credit for that. In 2012, we had a number of great things that happened. We created the Hall of Fame, but also, in a sad note, we did lose our first paddler. Brad Ellis passed away on Monday during the race from hyponatremia. And we didn't want to forget Brad, and because that we wanted to keep his memory alive, we created the Brad Ellis Spirit Award. The plaque, the small plaque here in front of me, is that award. And we award that on a yearly basis if we get good recommendations, and it's meant to be for any team captain or competitor that does an extraordinary thing in the way of sportsmanship. Now, some years we don't reward it because if it's not just, oh, you know, they smiled at me when they were in a race or something like that. But last year we had 4 different teams or individuals that are on the plaque because all of them did something extraordinary. So there is a process. If you see something that happens that you feel is worthy, just handwrite no more than 150 words and get it to one of the officials or board member. If we get it in time before the banquet on Tuesday, we will award it at that time. If not, we'll award it at the end or after the fact. So I wanted to tell you that is something that we want to definitely think about. We want to be good sportsmen out there. And I guess I'll go into the next part of it. Some people like to hear a little history about the race. If this is your first time, this will make the 59th time a water safari has been held. Held every year except the COVID year that we didn't have it in 2020. During that time, 7,689 people have started the race, but only 5,075 have finished. Now, that number is impressive, but it's more impressive when you think about how far the people have paddled. If you took that 5,075 people and multiplied 260 miles times that, just for the race, not all the training, it ends up being 1,319,500 miles. That's on some of the caps that we have this year. That's impressive, but if you think about how far that is, it's like going around the equator, if you could do that 53 times, or going to the moon 5.5 times. So, and the next thing I want to talk about is the Hall of Fame. Up here to my left is the plaque that we created in 2012, and it was created for anyone who had completed the water safari at least 10 times. But we have some that's done it 20 and 30 and so forth, so we created 3 different levels, which was a 2,600 mile, 10, the 5,200 mile, 20, the 78, I hope my math's right, for 30, and at that time we didn't have anybody, but we've had to add a 40th because one individual made 40. So if you've done at least 5 water safaris completed, why don't you raise your hand? Just raise it up so we can see it. Everybody's done at least 5. Come on. Okay. Keep your hands up now. Okay, now, everybody that's done at least 10, keep your hands up. Okay, look around. There you go. We got 4 new people today we're going to recognize. Okay, anybody that's done 20, raise your hand. I know there's some people behind me too. Okay. All right, now Very good. Now it's getting thin. Everybody who's done at least 30, raise your hand. Should be 5 total. 5 total in the whole audience. Okay? All right. Now, we still have one person, and I'll point him out up here toward the front and got his pink shirt on. John Boogie, who's completed it. Is it 42, John? 42. This will be his 43rd attempt. Yeah. That's like paddling across the U.S. if you could do that 4 times. Isn't that amazing? Oh, another thing I want to mention. Up here on the plaque, there are 89 names that now have done it at least 10 times. If you add up the number of finishes that the people on that plaque have done, it's 1,413 finishes. And since there's only been 5,075 people, that ends up being 26% of the people who complete this race are the people on that plaque. So every 4th person who crosses the finish line, on the average, will either is in the Hall of Fame or will be in the future. That's an amazing thing. What a big family. Okay, so we're going to talk about our new inductees this time, and we'll start out with those people who have completed 10 water safaris. And Alan, I'm going to need some help from some of the folks over here for a picture and present the award, and I'll make the names. The first person that has completed 10 this past year is Gary Gibson. Gary, are you here? Gary Gibson. Gary around? I don't know. Is he coming up? Okay. Yeah, Gary completed his first water safari in 2005. He won the Parent Child in 2017. And as I mentioned, he's completed the race 10 times. Congratulations, Gary. Okay. Next one, Brian Jones. In 2009, he went in the novice class. In 2014, he won the aluminum class. 2016, won the 10 and unlimited class. And was 4th overall in 39 hours and 3 minutes. Which way?
Brian's that way, Gary's that way.
Oh,
Gary
I'm sorry.
made it.
Okay, over here at the table, guys. And also, I want you to sign the plaque, this plaque that's lying down. The new guys, be sure and sign that and circle the sheet because I can't read your writing on some of the people. The next one is Mike Smith. Mike completed his first safari in 2007. And he's raced in 6 different classes. Mike Smith.
Mike, congratulations, Dan. Take a look at this.
Don't forget your photo op. Thank you, Sam.
And the 4th person to go into the Hall of Fame is Nathan Tart here on the front row. Nathan first raced in 2010. He was first in the novice class in 2010. He was first in aluminum in 2011. And in 2016, won the Tandem Unlimited. Congratulations. Now, we've got those that have been around a while. The next one has completed the safari 20 times. Phil Bowden, in 1986. Come on up, Phil. I know you're here and you were earlier. There he is. In 1986, he raced Tandem Unlimited. In 1994, he won the mixed. In 1996, he won the solo. In 2016, he was 1st overall. And he has 14 top 10 finishes. Phil Bowden. The next one who's done 20 is Bobby Smart, Louisiana guy. First race in 1992. He won the standard in 1995. Tandem Unlimited in 2014. He was 3rd overall in 2016 and won the Masters. And he's been top 10 15 times. Congratulations, Bobby. And the last and not least is Pete Binion. In 1991, Pete raced his first race. In 1993, he won the C2. And he won the race in 2007. And it's amazing, but he did 28 times in a row that he finished the race, which is quite an accomplishment. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Alan.
I also want to recognize real quick, and you don't need to applaud, but just the folks who man these checkpoints, they put in a lot of hours. It's a grueling job, but a lot of them come back every single year. At Staples, we have Joy Emshoff, or Spain, Joyce Emshoff, Spain. We've got Chuck and Ellen Truesdale at Luling. We call them Mr. and Mrs. Luling. We've got Ken Thigpen at Palmetto. We've got Jerry Nunnery at Gonzales Dam. We have Sam Peavy at Hoheim, Jeanette Burris at Cuero 766, Tony Kubda at 236, Victoria City Park, Santiago Marquin, Swinging Bridge, Steve and Gloria Reagan, and Ron Rakowitz. And at the saltwater barrier, we have Charles Clapsaddle. So, and we'll also have a number of folks, Norm down at Seadrift handling the night shift looking for flares, and the Coastal Bend paddlers will be doing the day shift looking for flares. So let's give them all a big hand. They're awesome group. All right, before we go into the rules and race course, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items and rule changes. First, I want to remind racers and their team captains that you enter the race at your own risk. And the Texas Water Safari Corporation, its race officials, checkpoint officials, and sponsors are not liable for any accidents to personnel, meaning your health, safety, or damage to any property or equipment during the race. If you feel or have a medical emergency, call 911. Also notify the nearest checkpoint official or race official. If we launch a search boat, I want to remind folks we only rescue people, not boats. Also, make sure you know what row you're on. We'll have stakes out, and I believe there's a row list in the packets up here. So make sure you grab a list so you know what row you're on in Spring Lake. If you're still having any issues with your spot being not registered or working, come over and see Jeff Snyder. We'll get you squared away after the briefing. You can leave your boat here overnight, but once again, as I remind everybody every year, we'll have a security guard watching over the boats, but he's not going to protect your boats from raccoons. So don't leave food in your boat. Please pick up trash along the race course. The GBRA has provided us a lot of trash bags this year. If you're a team captain, go ahead and grab some of these and take with you. Palmetto. A lot of, if you pull up to Palmetto State Park right now, they're going to tell you there are no more permits available because basically we bought them all, okay? If you still need a permit to get in, go to the self-pay desk and just fill out something and put it on your dash so you don't get a ticket. And so they are going to let people in. They know we're in and out pretty quick and we're not overnighting, so they're okay with having more permits than available. Don't forget to get your parking pass before leaving. Remember, no boats are allowed to stay on the bridge while the team sleeps. Either carry to the top of either side or tie them off downstream. Downstream is recommended, and there are a lot of good locations. Please, all spectators and team captains, do not point flashlights at the approaching boats. You're blinding them and causing a hazard to the boats. If really crowded, please only teams and their team captains should be on the boat on the bridge. Spectators and families will help most by giving them room for the teams to work as needed. This year, there's really no issues with Palmetto Bridge like we had last year, so it should be a pretty easy portage or paddle under, whatever you're doing. Please respect private property. If you don't have permission, do not enter. Please stay off the GBRA saltwater barrier road. They have cameras on it, and they will let me know if you're on it. So the saltwater barrier is going to be a mandatory portage on River Right. So I'm going to go down on Sunday and put up a sign on the saltwater barrier. So it'll be easy. You can pick your way. You want to go right, but you cannot go over the actual dam part. It's inflated now, and I know teams have been able to go over it, but the GBRA has asked us to make it a mandatory portage. You can also get water off the bridge. So if you want to bypass the saltwater barrier, the team captain needs to run back up, sign the team through after you hand off water to the team. So that's okay. The award ceremony is Tuesday, 1 p.m. We went over the spots already. Facebook. Cell phones are mandatory. I want to remind people that two-way communication is legal. Feel free to communicate with whoever you wish, except a race official. Contacting a race official is the equivalent of firing off a flare. You can be disqualified. You will not be disqualified for contacting a race official if you're reporting on a team in distress. We have 11 checkpoints, the first being Staples, the last being Seadrift. All checkpoints have cutoffs and deadlines that must be met. The most important deadlines is the Staples and Luling Highway 90. The deadline at Staples is 3 p.m., Highway 90 is 8 p.m. Checkpoint 766 has moved this year. It is now downstream to Highway 72. We have added another time and another hour to allow you to get there. We did not change the time at 2:36, so it's going to be easy to make because we had somewhere we had to make it up. So you've got an extra hour to get to 72 and a short jaunt down to 2:36. Skipping around, back up to Cottonseed Rapid. If you do decide to go to Cottonseed Rapid, the owner has asked us to park on the road and not block in any of his cars or vehicles if you're going to go there to view boats coming through. Team captains, you may want to write this down. At the saltwater barrier checkpoint, the gate name, both gates have to remain closed. Last year we left it open and did not put a lock on it, and they didn't like that. So the combination to the gate is 0, 0, 0, 0. 4 zeros. So 5. So make sure it's easy to remember, it's all zeros.
It's like my SAT score.
Yeah, it's Jay's SAT score. So also, if you come in and out, we're probably not going to lock the bottom gate because that's not needed, just the top gate. Please lock it and close it when you go through. And from what I hear, the mosquitoes are brutal down there in Swinging Bridge. There are a number of dams along the course that require portaging. The only one you really need to know about, Jay will go in a little more detail on that, is Gonzales Dam. It is a mandatory portage river left. You can't go the old way, river right. We'll actually have somebody river right, and we'll give you the option of taking it in a 2-hour time penalty or pulling back out and going over and going river left. I think it's pretty well we've settled this. All Type 5 and Type 4 inflatable life jackets are illegal. Be careful on the barge canal. Every year we have issues with people going in it, and it's getting even more blown out, and it's hard to tell what's the bay and what's the barge canal. If you do go in the barge canal in an accident, we will not assess a time penalty if you turn around and go back out the way you came in. You get in it, you say, oops, my bad, turn around, paddle back out, you're good to go. Jay's going to go briefly over the race course description. We kind of going to shorten it this year. We're only going to talk about just spots of any kind of danger, which is not that many, and then we'll be wrapping it up shortly after that.
So before we forget, there's two people that we never remember to recognize, and you probably talk to them more than anyone. Number one is Linda Cochran, who's been doing this for as long as Gary's been on the board. And my personal favorite, who's been my team captain and sleeping companion for the last 25 years, Kristen Daniel, who's answered every stupid email that you've managed to send over the last 6 months. We are married, so it's okay that I sleep with her. So where to start with this race course? You're more likely to need a helmet than anything this year. If you find yourself in a bind, you can probably stand up, okay? It's bony from here to the other end. Things specifically to look out for are, and this is the one place I'm actually really worried about, if you have not been into the Stairtown Cut, and if you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say Stairtown Cut, look at the map And do not go in there because there's a log jam about 25 feet into the thing, and it's just looking for the stern of your boat to swing around and go send it under it. And that would be that one less meal we have to pay for at the banquet. So people are portaging over the top of it. There's a trail up at that jam. You can go left, or you can go old school and go under the log and go all the way around. But that is probably the most likely to eat your boat spot on the course. From Stairtown, that's where that clip went. From Stairtown down to Luling 90, again, that's probably the boniest part of the course. Gonna put some dings in your boat and what have you. Bummer. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Luling Dam, portage right, however you choose to do it. Alan mentioned Palmetto Low Water Bridge. Tim Curry was able to sit up as we paddled under it the other day. Not really, Sandy. That's just,
Like, what?
but close, real close. And then Alan mentioned River Left at Gonzales. It's well marked. Both, for somebody was asking, the double gates are open, so it won't be quite the dilemma it was during the night race to get a 6-man boat through there. And then the long march begins. It depends on when you happen to get to Gonzales, whether you're going to have enough water to really paddle in. Tim and I paddled in it one day, and it was 160. One of the team that went the next day had 500 CFS. So, grab your dice and roll them. I suggest that the best thing for you to do, if your boat is not 2014, is when you get to Gonzales Dam, just take a nap until they start releasing. I mean, it would be great for you. You feel so much better in the morning. And from there on out, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's really shallow. Lots of places where the water gets real hard. And by hard, I mean you're going to break your paddle on it because that's the bottom of the river is what you're seeing. And then, did you mention temperatures?
No.
Oh, okay. So it is not forecast to be, no matter what you wrote for a magazine article or something, this is not the toughest it's ever been. Sorry, Pam. 2009 was lower from top to bottom, and 1998 was hotter. So there you go. But it's a combination. It's going to be tough. So make sure you're doing all of the things to take care of you. I promised Cole Brazil that I would mention this. If you remotely think you are allergic to something, like a wasp or something, for God's sake, have Benadryl in the boat, because, or an EpiPen or something, because it is a long way for these guys to get to you to rescue you. And he was with some folks that had his best interests at heart, and 3 EpiPens, and they still had to run him out of there in an ambulance. So pay attention to these things. Make sure you're hydrating, electrolytes, and all of those things that you've already signed away that you know you need to do. And then last but not least, I didn't want to tell anybody, but damn it, the river is open below the trailer cut as of right now. So you can go straight. I didn't really want to tell anybody, but so now you know. You can go straight, go the regular way. Except for when you get to the seawall, you need to keep going for another 0.8 of a mile to the actual finish line. And then if you've looked at the wind predictions, we're looking at up to 25-mile-an-hour winds and 4-foot waves. So God bless you guys in the unlimited boats. And that's it. Any questions, corrections, or words of amazement? Oh, Alan's got a few more things.
I'd also want to mention at Luling Highway 90, there's going to be a food truck there, and it's going to be going to the Wounded Warriors and American Legion. So if y'all are there and you've got time to buy a hot dog or get a soda pop, please do support them. We may have a food vendor at Staples too, not for sure yet on that. So buy a little something to help out their community as well. We had 2 paddlers pass away this year. I want to recognize just in a brief moment of silence, Donna Boogie and Mike Woolley. Thank you. I'm sure they'll be with us on the river, and keep them in your hearts. Driving guides.
The one on the website is completely up to date as far as
Good point.
72, etc. This one does not have the checkpoint movement.
Okay, so if you picked up the driving guide, it's got the old 766 checkpoint in there. So you need to make a note that it's moved downstream to 72. But if you're looking at it on the website, you can click on it, look on the website, and it is updated on the website. We'll be up here, the board members. If you have any questions, looking forward to a great race. Everybody take care. We want to see you in Seadrift.
Just one thing, we do have in the morning we're supposed to have coffee again, so be sure and check in with Springtown Roasters. They've been good enough to come over and bring coffee.